Welcome to the Subway Conversation Chat. My name is Jamie Malloy, and I'm here to chat about New York baseball with you, all any, and also my co-host Joe Dalio. So, without any further ado, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I am doing great. Happy Baseball Wednesday evening. I hope you're doing well too. And certainly, looking forward to talking some baseball here.
Yeah, me too. And as we talked about backstage, tomorrow night's draft night, and if we do a good show and we're on our best behavior tonight, we'll be rewarded by watching hopefully a good first round tomorrow.
Yeah, that's certainly true. This is a baseball show, and we got a lot of great baseball to talk about. But my focus has kind of been off baseball a little bit, just because it's one of my favorite times of the year for sports. The college basketball tournament just ended. Baseball's in the beginning of the year, and two sports that I absolutely love, NHL hockey and NBA basketball, are now going into their playoffs, or now in the middle of their playoffs. So lots of great games already. I'm a Knicks fan. We're up 2-0 in that series, including a miracle victory there. And again, baseball going well here. Hockey. What else is going on? NFL draft tomorrow night, as you were saying. So one of my favorite times of the year for sports, and certainly lots of great stuff to talk about. But we'll keep our focus on baseball for this show.
Exactly. So, anyway, would you like to get us started with some Mets news first?
Yeah. So, not a bad week for them. Again, I was hoping the Mets would go 3-3 on this California road trip, including a trip to Los Angeles. Never an easy place to win. And we'll talk some results and statistics going there. But again, 3-3 is not bad. So again, a little bit of a carousel in the middle relief department. I've been talking about this guy, Michael Tonkin, and he barely made the roster to start the season. He made the opening day roster, struggled a little bit, and the Mets let him go. And he was actually on another team. They let him go, and the Mets got him back. He was called up on the 19th, and again, he had some struggles. He lost a couple of extra inning games before he got released the first time here, and he won a game late this week against the Dodgers. So that all went well. However, he was designated for assignment about 3 days after that again. So we'll see what happens here with the Michael Tonkin saga and where he ends up. Let's see. One big injury that they've had, Francisco Alvarez. I was watching the game. He injured his thumb. It's officially a sprained thumb, sliding into a base. And he played a couple of games after that, because I think this was against the Pirates game last week is when I think it happened, because I was watching the game at the time and I saw it. And he stayed in the game, but went on the disabled list now just because I guess it's too painful, and you want to get it healed, and that's an injury again that you don't want to mess with and have it linger. So he's on the 15-day disabled list. So they brought up Thomas Nido, who's been with the team before. He was with Syracuse, the minor league team. So he's back with the team, and they're using Narvaez as well, and I'll go over their stats and how they're doing a little bit later on. But Alvarez on the 15-day IL. Hopefully he can come back as soon as possible. Let's see. Brooks Raley, they put on the 15-day IL. He's a middle relief pitcher. He was doing pretty well. But again, a lot of depth in that Mets middle relief. And again, I'll share some stats on that in a little bit. But he's off the roster for a while. Again, 15-day IL. And however, they got one of their good relief pitchers back, Sean Reed Foley, who started the season on the IL and has worked his way back, done his rehab assignments, and now he's with the team. So good news with that. So again, taking 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers is at Los Angeles. I mean, how many teams can do that? This was a good time to get the Dodgers, though. just simply because the Dodgers always start slow. And, it's going to get to a point where you play them in the summertime. They're going to go like 50-5. They're going to hit that streak where they're unbeatable and everybody's firing on all cylinders. So the Mets got them at the right time. And to take 2 out of 3 against them is definitely noteworthy. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants in San Francisco. But again, last week on this show, I said I want 3-3, and I got 3-3. So not a bad week for the Mets at all that way. And again, I'll turn it over to you, talk about some Yankees news, and then we'll come talk back and see, how some of these Mets are doing here. So what's going on in Yankee land?
Well, Joe, it hasn't been a bad week for the Yankees so far. I mean, right now they've split series up with Oakland, but they got a big 4-3 win yesterday at home, which was good to see. Marcus Stroman was inconsistent, but still pitched well enough to help the Yankees get the victory. But anyway, we have some injury updates and a big one regarding DJ LeMahieu. His return may be delayed a little bit longer now, folks. LeMahieu made his debut yesterday with Double-A Somerset, and the 35-year-old, however, only made it through 1 inning. He did have an opportunity to to bat once, but struck out, and he played third base in the bottom of the first. He left the game in the bottom of the second with what the team is saying soreness in his right foot. And then LeMahieu will have to further have testing today on his foot. And now the news is a little bit more encouraging for Jon Berti, as Berti was originally added to the list on April 13th after suffering an adductor impairment, running to first base on April 10th against the Florida Marlins. The third baseman has been fielding ground balls at Yankee Stadium during the team's homestand, and Berti's anticipated return is likely in May.
Okay.
And then moving on, so finally our starting pitcher, finally our starting pitcher, Garrett Cole. Cole threw 50 pitches from 120 feet at Yankee Stadium yesterday, increasing it from 75 feet last week. Excuse me, folks. Sorry there. It hasn't been determined yet when he'll start on the mound work, but it could be as early as next week. So very good news in the injury front there, except for DJ LeMahieu. The rest of the news is positive. And now I'm going to turn it back over back to Joe for some Met news now. Joe?
Okay. So as I said, the Mets went 3-3 this week. Again, 2 out of 3 in LA, 1 out of 3 in San Francisco. And I was talking about how a couple of weeks ago, they got off to that 0-5 start. And, again, going 13-5 now, 13-5 record since that 0-5 start. So that's obviously excellent. And again, in the beginning of the year, going 0-5, nobody was hitting. They weren't getting key hits, 2-out hits, that kind of thing. And then Brandon Nimmo was the first one to wake up, and he had 8 RBIs the 1 week and really got going. Last week, I was talking about how Pete Alonso finally got going. He wasn't striking out like he was in the beginning of the season. He had a few home runs. And this week, it's official that Francisco Lindor is now awake. He had an amazing week. He had 2 home runs today in the 8-2 win against the Giants that they won. But Lindor hit 3 home runs for the week. Again, 2 of them today, 8 RBIs. He had a 375 batting average and an 1192 OPS. So we were joking about how, he was hitting like 087 after the first week and a half of the season. And then last week, he was over 100, maybe he'd get to over 150. He's officially hitting 206 now. So the Mendoza line, as they say, the 200 batting average, Lindor is officially at 206. And we knew he wasn't going to stay below 200 for long. And again, a big week for him on this road trip. And, sometimes these players go on the road and seem to do better. The pressure seems a little less there. Although, when the Mets were home and he was still struggling, the fans were still supporting him. So I'm sure he'll get a nice ovation when the Mets come back there, for their next game, which is in a couple of days. But so that's good to see him get off the schneid there. Jeff McNeil had an excellent week. He had 9 hits this week, 391 batting average, 939 OPS. Starling Marte continues to do well. He's got 4 home runs. He had 6 RBIs this week, 4 home runs overall in the season. I believe he had 1 for this week. But again, 6 RBIs this week, 360 batting average, and a 920 OPS. So, definitely a highlight there. Now, I mentioned before that Francisco Alvarez is on the disabled list, and Omar Narvaez and Thomas Nido doing the catching duties right now. Well, Mets fans are probably hoping Alvarez gets back, not only because he's an excellent hitter, but so far, Narvaez hitting .077 and Thomas Nido hitting .167 this week. So not exactly, excellent backup here. Hopefully, they can get going. And maybe once they get regular at bats and get into a little bit of a rhythm, they can certainly get that average up and going. Overall, Brandon Nimmo still leads the team with 15 RBIs. Pete Alonso with 7 home runs. Nimmo had a tough week this week, though. He didn't have any RBIs this week. He's still the team leader with 15, and that's after getting 0 in the past 6 games here. So he hit only .057, though he did get on base. And again, this guy knows how to get on base. He had 8 walks through the week. So 8 walks, 6 games, so still getting on base there. He did have 8 strikeouts, though, which is very uncharacteristic of Brandon Nimmo. So don't know what's going on there. But again, he's, totally got the ability to bounce back, and I'm sure he will. And again, he's been doing well, other than this week here. Talking about some pitching, some good, some bad. Sean Manaea had his first 2 starts were excellent. And then he got knocked around his 3rd start. He had a bad one there. Well, he pitched 2 games now this week. He pitched today, and he pitched the first game in Los Angeles, and a nice comeback. Between the 2 games, he pitched 9 2/3. He pitched 5 in the game against LA. He only pitched 4+ today. He threw a lot of pitches. He threw like 101 pitches, only in 4 1/3 innings. So that's why he only went to 4 1/3 today. Not bad. 8 hits. He only gave up 2 earned runs, and he had 9 strikeouts in those 9 2/3 innings. So nice bounce back for Sean Manaea. The rest, again, nothing impressive, but they're, throwing innings and they're, eating up innings and not having to rely solely on the bullpen. My friend Jose Butto, Butto is how it's pronounced. I've been pronouncing it wrong. It is Butto. But he had his first struggle this week. And again, he had a couple of great outings. And again, he got promoted to the team here. And I remember saying last week on the show, I wonder how he was going to do at Dodger Stadium against a potent lineup like the Dodgers. And he did all right. He only pitched 4 1/3 innings. He gave up 2 earned runs. But control was an issue. I don't know if it was the nerves being at Dodger Stadium, but he had 5 walks that he gave up in the 4 1/3 innings. So again, 2 runs in 4 innings is not the end of the world. And again, it's his worst start so far. But if that's going to be his worst start, then, certainly, we're going to be okay. Luis Severino, nothing special. He went 6 innings, though. He gave up 3 earned runs in those 6 innings. But again, if he can go 6 innings most of the time, I don't think you can ask for much more than that. Jose Quintana, he struggled a little bit. He went 5 innings, although he did give up 5 earned runs, 7 hits, 3 walks there. So again, that could be better, although his previous couple of starts were decent. And again, you're getting innings in there. That's a positive. Adrian Hauser got shelled in his start. He's been the most inconsistent of the starters. I believe his previous one was pretty good, if I remember correctly. But he pitched in the game in Dodger Stadium that the Mets lost. He pitched only 4 innings in that game and gave up 8 earned runs and 4 walks on top of that. So that's the game the Mets lost 10-0, and certainly not a help there. We keep bragging about how the relievers on this team and the bullpen of the Mets are doing, and that continued this week. I mean, Adam Ottavino, and again, from him being on the Yankees, and we've talked about it, seems like every week, how he's Mr. Consistency and just that steady influence in the bullpen before they get to the closer. 2 2/3 innings, did not give up a hit, 1 walk during that whole time. So Ottavino continues to excel. Reed Garrett had 2 wins to his credit this week. He's got 4 on the season, 4-0. He pitched 3 games this week, 4 innings in those 3 games, gave up 3 hits, only 1 earned run, but 8 strikeouts in those 4 innings. And he actually got a save in one of the games too. So doing it all. 2 wins and a save this week. So excellent performance. The MVP of the bullpen for sure, Reed Garrett. Jake Diekman, nobody talks about him, but he just quietly comes in and does his thing. Another 2 innings this week without a hit, without a run, couple of walks, but in those 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. So again, nobody talks about him, but just getting the job done. And Edwin Diaz at the end of the bullpen, he was a little mediocre this week. Nothing awful, but just an inning and 2/3. But 2 appearances, I believe, of inning and 2/3. Gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, and had a couple of strikeouts in there. No saves or anything, but again, nothing to write home about, but nothing to be concerned about. And Mets bullpen, again, just continues to excel. So looking ahead, coming back home, a 7-game homestand. So in my opinion, you got to win at least 4 of these. You got 3 coming up against the Cardinals. 2 out of 3 there shouldn't be a problem. And I think you have to take 2 out of 3. The Cardinals aren't playing exactly that well. So, let's take 2 out of 3 there. That'll happen Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then a 4-game series against the Cubs, Monday through Thursday, with the day game on Thursday. So I say take at least 2 of those. The Cubs aren't as good on the road as they are at home. So an excellent homestand here would be, what did I say, 7 games, 5-2. But, you go 4-3 on this homestand. I think that's totally acceptable here. So, get the job done. That's what's going on with some of these Mets players, and hopefully they, continue to go in the right direction here. What you got for Yankee stats and wins and losses this week going on?
The Yankees currently right now are tied with Baltimore for first place in the AL East. They're 16-8. As I mentioned, they lost a very controversial first game to Oakland, where apparently now when you're the manager, you could get thrown out for saying nothing now. I mean, that's unbelievable. And Yankee fans, what we're talking about here. Aaron Boone got thrown out by the umpire because he was mistaken for a fan in a blue shirt. So, but it was like Aaron even said it. He explicitly said, "Hunter, I didn't even say anything." And the umpire was like, "I don't care, you're gone." And now Judge actually wants this umpire to actually be reviewed by the MLB.
Wasn't Angel Hernandez, was it?
No, it wasn't Angel Hernandez. It was Hunter or something. Hunter's first name was.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, he comes from a family of umps too. His dad was an umpire, and like his family's like really, really historical in terms of like they don't usually get things wrong like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But but nobody's perfect, as Hannah Montana used to say back in 07. But and anyway, but now Joe, let's actually talk about other baseball news. We may have a new star in the National League. And let me tell you who he is. We have a new star in the National League, and the Dodgers actually had no room for him. And the team traded him to the Cubbies, actually, who you're probably going to be seeing him against your Mets. His
That's
name's
right.
Michael Busch, and he's been killing it in the month of April so far. He has homered in 5 consecutive games, which ties a Cubs franchise record. And the premier hitter is also carrying a 362 batting average with 3 doubles and 13 RBIs. The Dodgers surely saw what Busch could bring to their team to draft him 31st in the 2019 draft. But as we know, like any team that's a dynasty, they nowadays end up getting too many players, and then they don't have any room for them. So then they have to go somewhere else where they could be the star and play. So, which begs the question, Joe, do you think a lot of people now want to see like a lot of these players that get drafted by these dominant organizations? Do you think they would rather be on that Dodgers lineup and not play, or do you think they'd rather be like on a mid Cubs team or a decent Cubs team and be the star? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I can't read minds of these players, but I know if it was me, I want to get the chance to play, and what a shame, what a problem that is for the Dodgers to have, right? That they have
Yeah.
such a surplus of excellent players that they have to get rid of these guys. But yeah, if I'm now Michael Busch, I've actually heard of him and I've seen him. I like to look every once in a while. I like to play some, MLB player props here. And, I was looking at some of the home run ones. I had never heard of this guy until then. And I have some information and charts and stats that I keep and spreadsheets and things like that, that I track some of this stuff. And, his name came up here, because of the hitting 5 home runs in a row here or 5 games in a row. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? And, of course I picked him after the fact and it was a little bit too late, but I saw him there, and he's just like you said, he's kind of taken the league by storm, the National League by storm. So I do look forward to seeing him next week in some of these games. Hopefully he doesn't hit home runs and excel against the Mets, but if I'm him, or like I said, if I'm an up and coming major league player and I just got highly drafted, I honestly, I don't care who I play for. I want to get my opportunity to play and contribute to a team. And sure, it would be a little disappointing to miss out on an opportunity to play with a team like the Dodgers that has, probably the best chance to win the World Series here. But if I'm going to play for a team like the Cubs, which certainly isn't a bad gig, and I'm going to get the chance to play just about every day and prove myself there and potentially bring them to a division championship and a potential World Series, then I'm going to take that opportunity. So it's a good opportunity for him, and I hope he excels with it, because it seems like I haven't seen him play yet, but it seems like he's an exciting player and he's hitting home runs and again breaking records here now already. And I think the sky's the limit for him, and hopefully he can continue that. So yeah, I would want to play for a team, even if it's not as good as the Dodgers, where I get to play every day.
Exactly. That's my thinking too, if I was a player, but I'm not. So, but I agree. I have that same mindset though. So
Yeah, we can
anyway, though,
dream,
back
right?
to the news. In January, the Dodgers, that is, sent him to the Cubs for 2 prospects and infielder Zaire Hope, which now Zaire Hope is in the situation of how do you fit him into the lineup as a prospect? Because again, the Dodgers acquire these guys and there's no room for them now.
Right.
So, but anyway, Cubs manager Craig Counsell says, and I quote, "I've thrown the word consistent out a lot, labeling him to do damage and be consistent and be pretty good with pitch selection. And he's been doing all that well. It sets up a pretty good floor for you as an offensive player. He's putting the ball in play. He's making good swing decisions. He does all those well enough. It should spell for a consistent major league hitter. We're grateful to have him for sure."
That's excellent. And if he feels welcome, that's just going to help him even more. And the fans are going to love him too.
Yep. And then, so Joe, do you think we already said he made a good decision to get to play, but do you think the Dodgers made a mistake letting this guy go to the Cubs?
That's a tough call. I don't think it's a mistake. Again, you have a surplus of players and you can't keep them all. With a player like this, you don't know how well they're going to go. They have so many players on that team that are proven excellent baseball players that unfortunately you have to go with them. You don't know that a guy is going to hit 5 home runs like this in 5 games. You don't know that he's going to turn out to be a top-notch major league star if he does turn out to be that way. So it would stink for the Dodgers if he did, become that elite MLB player. But again, they have so many proven guys on their team that it's like, okay, you'd miss somebody like him and they missed an opportunity to make him part of their team. But believe me, they got plenty of other guys there already and a system full of prospects that could do the same exact thing for them. So again, it would stink to lose a guy like that and find out that you gave up a superstar, but they have plenty of them already, so they'll be fine.
Exactly. Now let's move on to Pittsburgh Pirates news. And Adam, we talked about this on our show on Monday night, but boy, oh boy, it's freaking Wednesday, April 24th in the MLB, and we're still checking in on with Pirates super prospect Paul Skeens. And why won't the freaking Pirates bring him up? I am still angry about this. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going Mel Kiper mode here.
Yeah.
It's a baseball show, but I love this guy, man. He could be up on the Yankees right now. Or you could use him on the Mets for sure because he's got a wicked Nolan Ryan 100-mile-an-hour type of fastball, and he's being underused and like wasted in AAA and being ruined basically. And is pitches aren't his pitches already MLB and Pirate worthy? And I guess we're gonna have to keep checking in right now until he eventually gets called up. So Joe, do you think the Pirates should have brought Skeens up to the team already?
Yeah, I would have. I mean, why not? These pitchers, it's so sad that it seems almost inevitable that they're going to get hurt and that they're going to be out for extended periods of time, with arm issues. So do you want his arm to get worn out in AAA? Or if it's going to get worn out anyway, and I hate to say this, I hate to be a pessimist like this, but if it's going to get worn out and eventually injured anyway, the way these pitchers are going, why not get the use out of them on your major league team in Pittsburgh? And, maybe it doesn't happen and he proves himself there. Now I forget where he is. I don't know if maybe you have an answer.
The Indianapolis Indians of AAA.
He's with there. Do you know where he ranks in the top 100? Last I looked, he was in the top 5. I don't know if he's number 2. Because Holiday was number 1, but he's with the Orioles now.
He's got to be 2 or 3. I mean, I didn't look it up, but he definitely has to be in the top 3 now.
Yeah, I check that list every once in a while, and I think the last time I looked, he was either 2 or 3. So, he appears to be major league ready. And another question that I don't know, I haven't been tracking it yet. Do you happen to know how he's doing in the minors? Do you know what his statistics look like or how he's been pitching there so far this year?
Yeah, one of the games he went like 7 innings and pitched a shutout, and some of his pitches were hitting over 102 miles an hour on the gun. I mean, this is like your modern day. This is like Nolan Ryan type of fastballs he throws. Like he could be the best pitching prospect in the league since Nolan Ryan if he comes up eventually. He's got that type of potential.
Yeah, he will be up this year. I'm confident that, and I get the feeling the Pirates are going to call him up soon. I am surprised that he's not been called up already. I mean, it's not like the Pirates have a pitching staff like the 1995 Braves or something like that. They're decent, but it's not like they're stacked with these stud pitchers. So why not call this guy up now, get him some major league experience, and let them learn the craft in the major leagues.
Most of their pitchers they're young and talented pitchers. That's what they basically are.
And they're going to grow together. And why not let this guy, who could easily be the ace of the staff, grow with them? Again, I honestly don't think he's going to be in the minors much longer, especially if he's pitching well now. So don't be surprised if you do see him called up within the next month or so. I would not be surprised. I'd be more surprised probably if it's, let's say, June and he's still not with the Pirates.
Right. Well, we'll have to keep checking in on that. I think he should have been on the team already.
I do too. I agree.
Anywho, it is now that time in our show, Joe, for our question of the week segment. You want to give it a try?
Let's give it a try.
Okay, Joe, here's your question for this week. Can you guess this MLB player? And name this player. He is the fastest player to get to 100 career home runs. Is it Mark McGwire, Ken Griffey Jr., Aaron Judge, or Ryan Howard?
Wow. Usually I can go through a process of elimination. I can't eliminate any of these guys. You said Mark McGwire, Judge, Griffey, and who was the fourth one?
Ryan Howard.
Excuse me. And I've heard this question before too, so I should know it. Dare I say Mark McGwire?
Nope, it was Ryan Howard, actually. I was surprised too.
Yeah.
I think he was with the Phillies, I want to say.
Yep, he was with the Phillies.
Yeah.
And
in
not
2006, he beat out David Wright in the finals for the home run derby I think.
Yes, he did. And again, no surprise. I mean, any one of those four, like I said, there was no process of elimination with this question this week. And, we're not going to tell our audience that I'm like 0 for 5. As long as we've been doing the show, this is week 6, I think we've been doing the show.
Yeah.
I'm 0 for 6. So I don't think I'm going to get over the Mendoza line with trivia questions this year.
So, speaking of, actually not speaking of that, let's move on to Shohei Ohtani's historic record. So, anyway, LA Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani soared into MLB history last Sunday afternoon. The 29-year-old hit his 5th home run of the season at Dodger Stadium against your New York Mets, Joe. But anyway, it was also an historic one, and it was also Ohtani's 176 career home run, which passed Hideki Matsui for the most career home runs by a Japanese-born MLB player, as Hideki Matsui had 175 in his long career. And now, granted, Matsui and Ohtani played in different eras, but nevertheless, they both helped MLB players who are Japanese. They helped grow the culture of baseball there, and they did it for their culture, and they did it for the love of the game too. So, but also Ohtani, I think, could also have a long MLB career like Matsui did, very similar to him, and hopefully he wins a World Series MVP like Matsui did in 2009. So it has been exciting to watch Ohtani's career so far. Just last night, he hit a 450-foot home run, which is 119 miles per hour, the hardest hit ball so far in the 2024 season. So, wow. Joe, what do you think of Ohtani's special career so far, and historical and famed career right off the bat?
Yeah, it didn't take him too long to break this record, did it? I mean, it seems like he just started playing yesterday, and he's only the dude's going to get better. I think he hasn't even hit the peak of his career. And when you're with a team like the Dodgers, of course, that's going to help you. And again, the Dodgers, it seems like, always get off to slow starts. They're going to hit that spurt in July and August, like I said, where nobody's going to be able to touch them. And again, my choice to win the World Series this year, even with the flawed playoff system. But that's really the only thing he's missing at this point is a World Series ring, which is only a matter of time before he does receive it. Again, I think he'll get it with the 2024 World Series here. But just I love the way he goes about it. He doesn't say a word. He just does his thing. He's not flashy. He's not cocky. He just goes about and does his thing and just proves himself day in, day out. And again, it didn't take long at all to get to this. So hats off to him. He's the type of guy that you enjoy watching and enjoy watching him succeed. And he's going to continue to do that. So, hopefully he stays healthy, and it would be great to see him on the mound again and being able to pitch again soon. It ain't going to happen this year, but next year or potentially the year after, it would be great to see what he could do there. You imagine him pitching a World Series game in a couple of years. I mean, that would be scary. Pitching a World Series game and then, hitting home runs as well. So excellent job by him, and no surprise that he got it. Just how quick he got it is what amazes me the most.
Yeah, that's the one thing he definitely has a leg up over Matsui is he can pitch. But if you he was just like Matsui. Matsui was also a quiet guy, did his thing. And they both kind of have the same swing power when you watch them at the plate. And they both kind of had the same walk up and stance at the plate too.
Right.
Anyway, moving on to the Yankees news. So Juan Soto hits his 500th career RBI. Soto does it again, folks. He hit his 500th run of his career. The amazing outfielder reached another milestone this past week while blasting a home run in the 8th inning against the Toronto Blue Jays reliever Yoenis Cabrera. He became the 21st player since 1950 to record at least 500 RBIs before turning 26 years old, which he turns 26 on October 25th. Soto is 86 RBIs away from the top 10 on the list, which include Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, and Miguel Cabrera. With Soto having such a great start to his young career, there's no telling what his future will bring. While his resume holds a 2019 World Series with the Washington Nationals, the three-time All-Star has posted a 286, 423, 526 batting averages during his 3,465 at-bats, and as of last Thursday, striking 164 home runs and 152 doubles to add to that. Since 2021, his run production has skyrocketed, as with all the time he has walked well up at bat. The 25-year-old has also led that category in the MLB too. I guess time will have to just tell us what Pat Soto's career will go. Hopefully, it's re-signing him to that $500 million contract after Shohei Ohtani got $700, and the Yankees have the money to re-sign it, like John Sterling would say. So, Joe, what direction do you see Soto's career going?
He's having a great year now. I think the Yankees, we talked about this before, I think the Yankees should sign him and will sign him. I think that's the best place for him to go. But he's certainly, the pressure's not getting to him. As being a Yankee fan,
I do.
How playing in New York could be, it could be a poison, could be like a negative factor in somebody's career. And we've seen some people get eaten alive in New York, not only with the Yankees, but with the Mets too. Certainly not happen with Soto. It seems like he's, basking in the pressure almost and just taking this in and seems to be enjoying. I think I don't remember seeing him enjoy playing as much as he is now. And so I really think he enjoys being in New York. He's enjoying being in the moment and being in the spotlight there. And his play is reflecting that. And I think he's going to continue to get better. I mean, as the weather gets warmer, I think, when the Yankee Stadium, no offense, all you got to do is pop up the ball and it goes out of the ballpark in July and August. And then once it warms up. So he's playing really well now, but I think he's going to do even better and potentially be an MVP candidate in the American League. So I definitely see him keeping and not only continuing it, but possibly improving it And hopefully he won't let the whole contract thing become a distraction. I don't think he will. And I think the Yankees will be smart enough. Like you said, they have the funds to be able to sign him. They have the intelligence to be able to sign him. And I think he would, especially again, get it done.
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, I think he enjoys, like you said, he enjoys the fame and the pressure that comes with New York, and he's just taking it in, and he's having fun. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Right.
You don't got to worry about the contract right now. Have fun, and then your money will come, and he's earned it. He's earned every penny of it so far, I feel like.
Right. And I think winning helps that. If the Yankees continue to win and he's a big part of that, then that's going to be a big influence as well.
That's also true as well. Now, moving on to Yankees pitcher Victor Gonzalez. Gonzalez earned another save in a 5-4 win for the New York Yankees over the Tampa Bay Rays last Sunday afternoon. The 28-year-old relief pitcher was acquired from the Los Angeles Dodgers to the Yankees as a part of the Shohei Ohtani $700 million deal. The southpaw is impressed so far as a Yankee, and he throws a variety of pitches as a reliever to throw batters off, which is cool to see. And this was Gonzalez's first save since April 2024 this year earlier. Against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, it was his first save since earlier in the month in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. And while he has had his moments with the Dodgers, again, because we talked about the Dodgers have so many players that they have to get rid of and it's a good problem to have. He needed to be shipped out, and therefore this earned him a better opportunity to play with the Yankees and strengthen their bullpen. And other than that ninth inning against the A's where he struggled, he's done well so far. So, Joe, what are your thoughts on Victor Gonzalez with the Yankees? Because our buddy Jason already said I would like him. I would like Victor Gonzalez. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he's definitely been impressive. I haven't seen him pitch really, but I mean the fact that those saves are racking up, I think that's a positive for Yankees fans. And
he's got two so far.
He's young, right?
And he's 28.
Yeah. So I think he could definitely be a contributor, to that to the back end of that staff. And again, I don't know a lot about him, but I just keep reading about him, and every time I look and he's got a save there. So I think he'll continue and grow, with the Yankees.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I really love the fact that all these bullpen pitchers the Yankees call up, most of them are southpaws.
Yes.
It's really cool. Left-handed pitchers like that. It's really cool to see. Not just all righties. Anyway, now we're going to talk about Jose Altuve holds the leads for hits. As Jose Altuve presently holds the lead for hits so far in the 2024 season with 31. Last week, he passed both Hall of Famers Chuck Klein and Scott Rowland for the all-time list for hits. The 33-year-old has led the MLB from 2014 to 2017 with more than 200 hits in each of those years. Altuve averaged 146 hits over the last 3 years. If he continues at that pace through 2029, which he is signed by the Astros through, that would put him just under 3,000 hits. Also, if he can stay healthy the rest of his career, the second baseman should have no problem hitting his 3,000th career hit. And hopefully it may be off a home run like Derek Jeter and A-Rod did.
Right.
And while due to the 2017 sign-stealing cheating scandal, some people may not be a fan of his. Nevertheless, he's a 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner and a 1-time Gold Glove winner too, 8-time All-Star and a multi-MVP. So far, he has a career batting average of .308 with 408 doubles, 214 homers, and 295 stolen bases. He is ranked 251st with 2,078 hits. Only time will tell if Altuve will be able to reach 3,000. Joe, do you think he'll be able to reach 3,000 hits?
Yeah, I certainly think it's possible. How old is he now? Do you happen to know? I didn't.
33.
He's 33, so that would put him at 38. I don't see why not. He's not slowing down. And again, some people are against him because of that whole 2017 World Series thing, and you don't know what was happening before that. But the fact that even since then, I mean, this guy just doesn't stop hitting, and he's off to a great start this year, at that age, and he doesn't seem to be slowing down. And I would not be surprised if he's still playing baseball 5 years from now and hitting at this pace. So I certainly would not be surprised if he gets to 3,000. In fact, I if I was to guess right now, I would say that he will. And just does his thing, and that seemed to humble him a little bit, that whole experience, or I hope it did anyway. But he's again off to a great start, even though the Astros aren't this year. They seem to be really struggling. Although, again, I picked him to win that Western Division in the American League. Don't be surprised if the Astros are there at the end of the season, regardless of the bad start that they're on. And don't be surprised if Altuve continues to hit as well as he's hitting now.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree with all that. And Joe, I also just like the Temptations and their song "I Love You and Nobody Else." I couldn't help myself without closing out the show with New York Yankees and John Sterling thoughts from colleagues, friends, etc. So anyway, John Sterling retired from the WFAN New York Yankees radio station after being there from 1980 since 1989 when he started calling games there. He's a longtime vet. And he was honored pregame last Saturday versus Tampa Bay. Several former colleagues had wonderful things to say about him. Current Yankees female analyst Susan Waldman said, "Nothing can ever be the same," she said. "Life goes on and we all go on, but nothing will ever be the same." And current Yes broadcaster and former co-host of John Sterling on WFAN, Michael Kay, said, "John, what are you doing here?" Sterling goes, "I've met the girl I'm going to marry, my boy," Sterling said. And that ended up being Julie, his wife, for 12 years. And they had 3 wonderful kids, too. And anyway, Aaron Boone, the Yankees manager, said he'd offer words of encouragement. He was so gracious with me, basically. And then Aaron Judge said on Sterling calling his first major league home run, "I know my dad replayed it over and over again on YouTube, and feeling that it was John Sterling too." So yeah, John Sterling was definitely special to these people, and he was definitely special to me as a Yankees fan. And anyway, here are some of John Sterling's calls that I would hear when I would be outside on the pool swimming, listening to my radio. The first one with Bernie Williams hits a home run. He says, "Bernie goes boom," and then he goes, "Burn, baby, burn." Well, this was basically unplanned. This was a call that basically started off for John Sterling as that began his career with the Yankees. And Bernie was there for 15 years. And every time he had a home run, he would just say, "Bernie goes boom." But the "Burn, baby, burn," we know that came from. That was a reference to a lyric from the Trance 1976 hit, Disco Inferno. The second one is Gleyber Torres. It's Gleyber Day. And like a good Gleyber, Torres is there. This one is a reference from State Farm's "Like a Good Neighbor, State Farm is there." And it's Gleyber Day. It's from the movie Labor Day, where they say it's Labor Day, but he replaced it with Gleyber Day. And anyway, number 3 is Masahiro Tanaka after he pitched a complete game shutout in 2019 against Tampa, where he would say, "The sun will come out, Tanaka. Bet your bottom line, bet your bottom dollar, Tanaka." And we know where that came from too. Was Sterling loved his old school New York Yankees Broadway plays, and this is a song he did was a reference to the song "Tomorrow" from the musical Annie. And then Number 4 is Alex Rodriguez. An A-bomb from A-Rod. This was popular every time Rodriguez blasted a very far home run, and A-Rod had many A-bombs as a Yankee.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, we have Robbie Robinson Cano. Ho, Robbie Cano. Don't you know? Sterling was also poetic and loved to use rhyming schemes. Plus, it worked out for Robbie Cano's style of hitting too. He didn't plan that, but it was pure poetry right there. Do you have any favorite calls from them? I know you're a Mets fan, but you got to have some Sterling calls for me.
Yeah, well, I said it last week. Not even a Yankees call. One of the reasons I became a New York Islanders fan in hockey is because John Sterling was their radio announcer for a couple of years, or actually probably about 4 or 5 years with them. And every time the Islanders scored, you'd hear him, Islander goal, Islander goal. And, it was just, it wouldn't be, the Islanders broadcasts weren't the same without him. So I'm blanking. I mean, of course, everybody knows, when the Yankees win, the Yankees win, that is always one that I remember. And again, I'm not somebody who likes it when the Yankees win, so I never wanted to hear that. But, that's what stands out as far as Yankees calls. But as I said last week when we talked about this too, I became a New York Islanders fan in 1976 when he was the broadcaster for them on the radio. And he had some amazing calls, with those Islander goal calls that I could live to be 150 years old, and I'm going to remember those Islander goal calls, from back in the day. And only Islander fans would know that. I mean, pretty much almost everybody around MLB knows who John Sterling is, whether you listen to him or not. But very few people know that, again, he broadcasted Islander games back in the 70s and had amazing classic calls there too. So I was very happy to see him get honored, and all these things people are saying. He's a class guy, and people wouldn't be saying this if he wasn't. And just one of the all-time classic baseball announcers that certainly got his due, when they honored him, last week.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I thank you, Joe. Anyway, that's a reference to John saying, and with that, I thank you, Susan Waldman, before they would start pitching. We're going to the mound. Anyway, well, folks, it looks like we come to the end of our show. We have a special program note for next week, Wednesday, May 1st. We will not be doing our regular Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock podcast, as I have a prior commitment to attend to. We do look forward to seeing you all back the week after on Wednesday, May 8th, for some more New York subway conversation chat. So, Joe, where can we find you in the social media world on April 24th, 2024?
Yeah, we'll have 2 weeks worth of baseball to talk about on May 8th there. So I'm on Joe Dell Sports on Twitter X. A lot of sports news going on, as I said before. So putting my 2 cents there with the hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, and of course, plenty of baseball information as well. So Joe Dell Sports X Twitter, you can find me on there.
Thank you, Joe. And as always, you can find me on Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on X, and then theforkball.com, where I write about all sports. And don't forget, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Driving to the Top Productions to listen to our podcast there on YouTube. Or if you want to just listen, tune in on 8 o'clock every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast platforms. And for those who are continuing to subscribe, who are doing it, thank you for doing that. And for those who haven't, hit that subscribe button on YouTube channel, as we are growing this channel, and we're only going to continue to get better. So thank you much for listening, folks. And get your New York sports here in 2 weeks on Wednesday, May 8th at 8 o'clock p.m. See you next week, folks.
All right. Have a great couple of weeks, everybody.
All right. Take care.